I hear the question, what kind of saxophone should I play? And it's usually from beginners who are wondering which horn they should play. But it's also from some people who are maybe on alto and want to move on to maybe one of the other ones. Yes, there's some difficulties in some aspects between the horns, between the different saxophones. But when you learn to play one of the saxophones, one of the more popular voices like soprano, alto, tenor, or bari, you probably all know there's more than those. There's actually several more. There's bigger than the bari, which is the bass, and even a bigger one, which is a counterbass, but you rarely see them. They're rarely used. I've seen a counterbass, and I think if you're not that tall, you might have to use a stepladder or a little stool to get up to the mouthpiece. They're huge. Let's stick to the four popular ones, soprano, alto, tenor, and baritone, of course. When I started, I fell in love with the tenor because I'm a rock and roller at heart, and I listen to a lot of rock and roll, and that's the sax that I heard 90% of the time. And so I fell in love with the sound of it and went out and grabbed one and learned how to play it. If you don't care, start with the alto, because the alto is a little easier. If you are playing the alto and you're not too bad at it, and you switch over to tenor, you'll find you have a little more difficulties getting the lower last few notes, because the tenor is that much bigger and requires more air. The bari will be a little harder to play way up loud, way up on the high register, and to play in tune. The same goes for soprano. Pretty easy to get the lower notes. When you get to the notes above the high C, the D and the D sharp and the E and the F, those notes are harder to get out. And when you do get them out, it's a little harder to keep the intonation spot on. But it's just a little more difficult than the horn you're used to. With a little more work and practice, you're going to get over these hurdles. So don't worry about it. The best thing to do is choose the one that you love the sound of the most. That's the most obvious. If you don't care and somebody's given you a certain horn, take lessons, check out these videos, learn how to play it. The saxophone is easy to learn the fingering, of course, and then takes a bit more time to develop a good tone through your embouchure and proper breathing. But all the little nuances that each of the different saxophones have can be overcome. Their problems can be overcome. All the notes are all the same fingering on all the saxophones. You have to transcribe when you play with different instruments, because of course there's E flat and B flat, but on its own, the saxophone fingerings are all the same. Go for it. Less talky, more playing. See you later.